missed all of the warning signs. I had more tears left to cry. I missed all of the warning signs. And now I'm left without goodbye.
Good evening. I can't thank you, fine folks, enough for your attention, for your desire to learn about the tragic tale of our Miss Julie. A soul so terribly lost. An unfortunate creature who never quite figured out how to live among us human beings. I remember Midsummer's Eve, the beginning of summer, a special time for us country folk, celebrating new growth and fertility. Here on McLeod Plantation on James Island, just outside Charleston, South Carolina. June 21, 1833. The Colonel's plantation now, in his family since 1678. 37 acres of cotton, 6 slab-born slave cabins, a dairy building, kitchen, barn, a gin house for cotton, 19 slaves, and 2 entrepreneurial, free people of color. My fiance, Jean, and myself, Kristen. You see, the Colonel had traveled all over Europe and New Orleans, so he liked the more refined things in life and was willing to pay for them. That is what Jean and I provided for the gentleman.
Towards the end of Kristen's monologue, light guitar strumming seems to build up, marking John's entrance. John enters, wearing his butler's uniform and carrying a pair of large riding boots, which he puts in a conspicuous place.
Lord have mercy. Miss Julie's gone crazy again tonight. Absolutely crazy.
Oh, so you're back, are you?
Well, when I had taken the Colonel to the station, I came back and dropped in at the barn for a dance. And who did I see there but our young lady leading off with Foreman? A slave, not even a free person of color. But the moment she set eyes on me, up she rushes and invites me to Juba with her. God damn, how she Juba'd. I've never seen anything like it. She's crazy.
She always has been, but never so bad as these last few weeks since her engagement was broken off.
Oh, yes, that was a pretty business for sure. He's a decent enough fella, too, even if he ain't rich. Oh, Lord, these white folks choosy. God. In any case, it's a bit strange that our young lady would rather stay at home with locals than go with her father to visit her relations.
Yeah, well, perhaps she feels a bit awkward, after that whole bust up with her fiance.
Maybe. That fella had some guts, though. Do you know the sort of thing that was going on, Kristen? Woo! I saw it with my own eyes, though I didn't let on that I had.
You saw them?
Didn't I just? Came across the pair of them one evening in the stable yard. Miss Julie was doing what she was calling training. She was training him. You know what that was? Making him jump over her riding whip the way you teach a dog. He did it twice and got a cut each time for his pains. But when it came to the third go, he snatched the whip out of her hand and broke it into smithereens. And then he cleared off.
Oh, what goings on? I never did hear such a thing.
Well, that's how it was with that little affair. Now, what have you got for me, Kristen? Something tasty?
Well, it's just a little bit of kidney I cut off of their joint.
Fine. That's my special delice. You might have won the play.
Oh, Lord, when you choose to be finicky, you are worse than the Colonel himself.
Stop pulling my hair. You know how sensitive I am.
There. It's only love,
John eats. Kristen brings a bottle of beer.
Beer? On Midsummer's Eve? No thanks. I've got something better than that. Yellow Seal. Now, go fetch me a glass. We use a glass with a stem, of course, when you're drinking it straight.
Giving him a wine glass.
Lord help the woman who gets you for a husband, you old fusser.
Nonsense. You'll be glad enough to get a fellow as smart as me. And I don't think it's done you no harm, people calling me your fiance. Good. Very good indeed. But not quite warmed enough. We bought this in France. 4 francs to the liter and import tax on top of that. Lord, what are you cooking now? Stinks.
Oh, it's just some bloody muck Miss Julie wants for Diana.
Hey! You should be more refined in your speech, Kristen. Please. Why should you spend a holiday cooking for that bitch? Is she sick or what?
Oh, yeah, she's sick, all right. She sneaked out with the pug at the lodge and got into that old usual mess. And that, Miss Julie won't have.
Oh, please. Miss Julie's too high and mighty in some respects and not enough in others. Just like her mother before her. Her mother, the Countess, as she liked to be called, was more at home in the kitchen and cow sheds than anywhere else. But would she ever go driving with only one horse? Never. She went round with her cuffs filthy, but she had to have the coronet of the cufflinks. Our young lady come back to her. Hasn't any proper respect for herself or her position. I mean, she isn't refined. Shameful. In the barn just now, she dragged the foreman. Did I tell you he was a slave? A slave. She drags the foreman away from Anna, made him dance with her. No waiting to be asked. We folk wouldn't do a thing like that, would we?
Mm-mm.
But that's what happens when the gentry try to behave like the common people. They become common. Anywho, she's still a fine girl. Smashing, white shoulders and what?
Oh, come off of it already. I know what Clara says, and she dresses her.
Clara, please, y'all are jealous. but I've been out riding with her. And as for her jubaing,
Okay, listen, John. Listen. You will dance with me, won't you, when I'm through?
of course I will.
You promise?
Promise. Now listen here, girl. When I say I'll do a thing, I do it. Well, thanks for the supper. It was a real treat.
Julie appears in the doorway, speaking to someone outside.
I'll be back in a moment. Don't wait.
John slips the bottle into the drawer and rises respectfully. Julie enters and joins Kristen at the stove.
Well, have you made it?
Hey, you ladies got some secret?
You're very inquisitive.
Ah, what a delicious smell. Violets.
Impertinence. Are you an expert of scent too? I must say you know how to dance. Now don't look. Go away.
Is that some witch's brew you're cooking on Midsummer's Eve? Something to tell your stars by so you can see your future?
You could see that, you'd have good eyes. Put in a bottle and cork it tight. Come and dance with Juba with me, John.
I don't want to be rude, Miss Julie, but I've promised to dance this one with Kristen.
Well, she can have another, can't she, Kristen? You'll lend me Jean, won't you?
It's nothing to do with me. When you're being so gracious, miss, it's not his place to say no. Now, go on, John, and thank Miss Julie for the honor.
Frankly speaking, miss, and no offense meant, I wonder if it's wise to dance twice running with the same partner, especially as those people are so ready to jump to conclusions.
What did you say? What conclusions? What are they saying?
As you choose not to understand, Miss Julie, I'll have to speak more plainly. It looks bad to show a preference of one of your servants when they're all hoping for the same unusual favor.
You a preference? The very idea. I'm surprised at you. I'm doing the people an honor by attending their ball when I'm mistress of the plantation. But if I'm really going to dance, I mean to have a partner who can lead and doesn't make me look ridiculous.
If those are your orders, miss, à votre service.
Merci, but don't take it as an order. Tonight we're all just people enjoying a party. There's no question of class. So now give me your arm. That's right. Don't worry, Kristen. I won't steal your sweetheart.
John gives Julie his arm and leads her out. Left alone, Kristen plays her scene in an unhurried, natural way, humming to the tune of the Juba dance. She clears John's plate, washes up and puts things away, then takes off her apron, brings out a small mirror from a drawer, props it against the jar of lilac, lights a candle, warms a small pair of tongs, and curls her fringe. She goes to the door and listens. Then turning back to the table, finds Miss Julie's handkerchief. She smells it, then meditatively smooths it out and folds it. Enter John.
Lord have mercy, she really is crazy. Whoa, what a way to dance. With people grinning at her, too, from behind the doors. What's got into her, Kristen?
Well, it's just her monthly coming on. You know, she is always strange then.
Then you're not angry with me for dancing with her?
You know I'm not for a little thing like that. Sad. I know my place.
You're a sensible girl, Kristen, and you'll make a very good wife.
Enter Julie.
You're a fine beau running away from your partner.
Not away, miss. But as you see, back to the one I deserted.
You really can't dance, you know. But why are you wearing your uniform on a holiday? Take it off at once.
Then I must ask you for a moment, miss. My black coat's there.
Are you so shy of me? Just over changing a coat? Go into your room then. Or stay here and I'll turn my back.
Excuse me then, miss.
He goes to his room and is partly visible as he changes his coat.
Tell me, Kristen, is Jean your fiancé? You two seem very intimate.
My fiance. Well, yes, if you like. We call it that.
Call it?
Well, you've had a fiance yourself, Miss,
So you were
and
engaged.
all the same, it didn't come to anything.
John returns in his black coat.
Très gentil, Monsieur Jean. Très gentil.
Vous voulez présenter, mademoiselle?
Et vous voulez parler français? Where did you learn it?
In Louisiana, when I was steward at one of the biggest hotels in New Orleans.
Well, you look quite the gentleman in that getup. Charming.
You're just flattering me.
Flattering you.
Of course. I'm too modest to believe you would pay real compliments to a man like me. So I must take it you are exaggerating that this is what's known as flattery.
Where on earth did you learn to make such speeches like that? Perhaps you've been to the theater a lot?
That's right. And I've traveled a lot too.
But you came from this neighborhood, didn't you?
Yes. My mother was a domestic on the next estate, the district attorney's place. I often used to see you, Miss Julie, but you know, when you were little, well, you never noticed me, of course.
Did you really?
Yes. One time especially I remember, but I couldn't tell you about that.
Oh, do. Why not? Now's just the time.
No, I really can't now. Another time, perhaps.
Another time means never. What harm in now?
No harm, but I'd rather not. Look at her.
She'll make a charming wife. I wonder if she snores.
No, she doesn't. But she does talk in her sleep.
How do you know she talks in her sleep?
I've seen her.
Why don't you sit down?
I can't take such a liberty in your presence, miss.
Suppose I order you to.
I'll obey.
Then sit down. No, wait a minute. Will you get me a drink first?
I don't know what's in the icebox. Only beer, I expect.
There's no only about it. See, Jean, my taste is so simple. I prefer it to wine.
John takes a bottle from the icebox, fetches a glass and plate, and serves the beer.
À votre service, mademoiselle.
Merci. Won't you have some yourself?
I'm not really a beer drinker, but if it's an order.
Order? I should have thought it was standard practice to keep your partner company.
That's a very good way of putting it.
Indeed. Now drink my health. I believe the man really is shy.
John kneels and raises his glass with mock ceremony.
To the health of my lady.
Bravo. Now kiss my shoe and everything will be perfect.
Splendid.
You ought to have been an actor.
We can't go on like this, Miss Julie. Someone might come in and see us.
Now, why would that matter?
For the simple reason that they talk. And if you knew the way their tongues were wagging out there just now,
What are you saying? Tell me, sit down.
no offense, miss. No offense meant, miss, but well, their language wasn't nice. And they were hinting, oh, you know quite well what? You're not a child. And if a lady seen drinking alone at night with a man, and a colored servant at that, then.
Then what? Besides, we're not alone. Kristen's here.
Yes, asleep.
I'll wake her up. Kristen, are you awake? Goodness, how she sleeps. Kristen, wake up.
The Colonel's boots are clean. Put the coffee on.
Wake up, can't you?
Let her sleep.
What?
When you've been standing at the stove all day, you're likely to be tired at night, and sleep should be respected. Excuse me.
What a nice idea. It does you credit. Thank you.
She holds out her hand to him.
Now come out and pick some lilac for me. Come on.
During the following, Kristen goes sleepily into her bedroom.
Out with you, Miss Julie?
Yes.
Miss, it wouldn't do. It really wouldn't do.
I don't know what you mean. You can't possibly imagine that no.
I don't, but others do.
What? That I'm in love with the butler.
I'm not a conceited man. But such a thing's been known to happen. And to these rustics, nothing's sacred.
You, I take it, are an aristocrat.
Yes, I am.
And I am coming down in the world.
Don't come down, Miss Julie. Please take my advice. No one will believe you came down of your own accord. They'll say you fell.
I have a higher opinion of our people than you. Come and put it to the test. Come on.
You're very strange, you know.
Perhaps I am. But so are you. For that matter, everything is strange. Life, human beings, everything. Just scum drifting about on the water until it sinks down and down. That reminds me of a dream that I sometimes have, in which I'm on top of a pillar and I can't see a way of getting down. When I look down, I'm dizzy. I have to get down, but I haven't the courage to jump. And I can't stay there. I long to fall, but I don't fall. There's no break. And there can't be any peace at all for me until I'm down, right down on the ground. If I did get to the ground, I'd want to be under the ground. Have you ever felt like that?
No. In my dream, I'm lying under a great tree in a dark wood. I want to get up to the top of it and look out over the bright landscape where the sun is shining and rob that high nest of its golden eggs. I really want to do that. So I climb and climb. But the trunk is so thick and smooth, it's so far to the first branch. But I know if I can once reach that first branch, I'll go to the top of it just as if I'm on a ladder. I haven't reached it yet, but I shall get there, even if only in my dreams.
Here I am chattering about dreams with you. Pull me into the park.
She takes his arm and they go toward the door.
We must sleep on 9 midsummer flowers tonight. then our dreams will come true, Miss Julie.
They turn at the door.
You got
He has a hand to his
something.
eye.
There's something in your eye. Let me see.
It's nothing. It's just a speck of dust. It'll be gone in a minute.
My sleeve must have rubbed against you. Sit down and let me see to it.
She takes him by the arm and makes him sit down, bends his head back, and tries to get the speck out with the corner of her handkerchief.
Keep still now. Quite still.
She slaps his hand.
Do as I tell you. Why, I believe you're trembling. Big, strong man, though you are.
She feels his biceps.
Wow, what muscles.
Miss Julie, please.
What, Monsieur Jean?
Attention. Je ne suis qu'un homme, s'il vous plaît.
Will you stay still? There now. It's out. Kiss my hand and say thank you.
Miss Julie, listen, please. Kristen's gone to bed now. Will you listen?
Kiss my hand first.
Very well. But you'll have only yourself to blame.
For what?
For what? Are you still a child at 25? Don't you know it's dangerous to play with fire?
Not for me, I'm insured.
No, you're not. You're not even close to insured. And even if you are, there's still stuff here to light a flame.
Meaning yourself?
Yes. Not because I'm me, but because I'm a man. I'm young.
And what, good looking? Wow, what incredible conceit. You're like a Don Juan, perhaps. I do believe you are Don Juan.
Do you?
I'm rather afraid so.
John goes boldly up and tries to put his arms around her and kiss her. She boxes his ears.
Was
How
that in
dare
earnest
you?
or a joke?
In
Was that in
earnest.
earnest or a joke?
In earnest!
Then what went before was in earnest too, was it? Excuse me, miss. You take your games too seriously, and that's dangerous. Anyhow, I'm tired of playing now and beg leave to return to my work. The colonel will want his boots polished first thing, and it's past midnight now. I need to get back to my work.
Those boots
No,
down!
this is my work, which is my duty to do. Please don't disrespect my work. That's all I have. Miss Julie, I don't mean any disrespect, but I never undertook to be your playfellow, and I never will be. I'm a colored man. Besides, I consider myself too good for that.
You're proud.
In some ways, not all.
Have you ever been in love?
Hell, we don't put it that way. But of course, I'm a grown man. Of course, I've been gone on quite a few girls. You know, once I went sick because I couldn't have the one I wanted. Sick. I mean, like sick and those princes in the Arabian Nights who couldn't eat for drink or love. That was me.
Who was she? Who was she?
You can't force me to tell you that.
If I ask as an equal? As a friend? Who was she?
You.
How absurd.
Yes, of course. It's ludicrous. Of course. Stupid. That's a story I wouldn't tell you before, see, but now I will. Do you know what the world looks like from below? No, you don't. No more than the hawks and falcons do, whose backs one hardly ever sees, because they're always soaring up aloft, above everybody, above me. I live in a slave's hovel with 7 other children and a pig out in the gray fields where there isn't a single tree, like an animal. But from the tree, but the window, I could see the wall around the Colonel's Park with apple trees above it. I call that the Garden of Eden, guarded by many terrible angels with flaming swords. All the same, I and the other boys managed to get to the tree of life. Does all this nonsense make you despise me?
Goodness, no. All boys steal apples.
You say that now, but all the same, you know you despise me. However, one time I went into the Garden of Eden with my mother to help her weed the onion beds. Close to the kitchen garden, there was this Turkish pavilion hung all over with jasmine and honeysuckle. I had no idea what it was used for, but I'd never seen such a beautiful building in all my life. People used to go in and then come out again. One day the door was left open. I crept up and I saw these walls covered with pictures of kings and emperors, and the windows had red curtains with fringes. You know what the place was, don't you?
He breaks off a piece of lilac and holds it for Julie to smell. As he talks, she takes it from him.
I had never been inside the manor, never seen anything but a church. And this was more beautiful. No matter where my thoughts went, they always came back to that place. The longing went on growing me to enjoy it fully, just once. Enfant, I sneaked in and gazed and admired. I never seen such beauty in my life. Then I heard someone coming. There was only one way out for the gentry, but for me there was another, and I had no choice but to take it.
Julie drops the lilac on the table.
Then I took to my heels, plunged through the raspberry canes, dashed across the strawberry beds, and found myself on the rose terrace. Then I saw a pink dress and a pair of white stockings. It was you. I crawled into a wood pile and lay there, right under it among prickly thistles and damp, filthy earth. I watched you among the roses and said to myself, the injustice, the injustice. If it's true that a thief can get to heaven and be with the angels, it's pretty strange that a slave's child here on God's earth mayn't come in the park and play with the Colonel's daughter.
Goodness. Do you think all slave children feel the way you did?
All slave children? Yes, of course they do, miss, of course.
Well, then it must be terrible to be a slave.
Oh, yes, Miss Julie. Yes. You know, a dog may lie in the colonel's sofa. A horse may have his nose stroked by a young lady. But a slave? Well, yes, now and then you meet one with guts enough to rise in the world. But how often? Anyhow, you know what I did? I jumped into the mill stream with my clothes on. I got pulled out and got a whipping for my trouble. But the next Sunday, I managed to get washed with soap and hot water. Yes, ma'am, hot water. Put my best clothes on and went to see you. I did see you. And went home determined to die. But I wanted to die beautifully and peacefully without any pain. Then I remembered it was dangerous to sleep under an elder bush. We had a big one in full bloom, so I stripped it and climbed into the oats pit with the flowers. Have you ever noticed how smooth oats are? Soft to touch as human skin. Well, I closed the lid and shut my eyes, fell asleep, and when they woke me, I was very ill. But I didn't die as you complain to see. What I meant by all that, I don't know. I drink too much sometimes. No, I remember. What I meant was this. There was no hope in hell of winning you. You were simply a symbol of the hopelessness of ever getting out of the race I was born in.
You put things very well, you know.
I've read a lot of novels and been to the theater. Besides, I've heard educated folk talking. That's what taught me most.
Do you ever stand around and listen to what we're saying?
Yes, of course. Ha! And I've heard quite a bit too. Yes, ma'am. On the carriage box or the rowing boat, no, don't matter. Once I even heard you, Miss Julie, and one of your young lady friends.
No. Well, what did you hear?
Well, it wouldn't be nice to repeat it. And I must say, I was pretty startled. I couldn't think, where on earth had you learned such words? Perhaps at bottom, there isn't as much difference between people as one's led to believe.
How dare you? We don't behave as you do when we're engaged.
Are you sure? It's no use making out innocent to me.
The man I gave my love to was a scoundrel.
That's what you girls always say. Afterward.
And what do you mean afterward?
Always. I mean, that's what you always say after. I think it must be always. I've heard the expression several times in similar circumstances. I don't know.
Yeah, like what circumstances?
Like those in question. The last time.
I don't want to hear anymore.
Nor did she, curiously enough. May I go to bed now, please?
Go to bed on Midsummer Eve?
Yes, dancing with that crowd doesn't really amuse me.
Get the key to the boathouse and row me out to the lake. I want to see the sunrise.
Would that be wise?
You sound as though you're fighting for your reputation.
And why not? I don't want to be made a fool of, nor to be sent packing without references when I'm trying to better myself. Besides, I have Kristen to consider.
So now it's Kristen.
Yes. But it's you I'm thinking about too. You. Take my advice and go to bed, miss,
I'm not to
please.
take orders from you.
Just this once for your own sake, please. It's very late and sleepiness goes to one's head and makes one rash. Go to bed. What's more, if my ears don't deceive me, I hear people coming this way. They'll be looking for me, and if they find us here, you're done for.
The chorus approaches, singing. During the following dialogue, the song is heard in snatches and in full when the peasants enter.
I know our people and I love them. They do. Let the song go
They
sing.
don't love you. They take your food and spit at it. You must believe me. Listen to them. Just listen to what they're singing. No, don't listen.
What are they singing?
They're mocking you and me.
Oh, horrible. What cowards.
A pack like that always counts. A pack like that's always counted. There's nothing we can do but run away.
Run away? Where to? We can't get out and we can't go into Kristen's room.
Into mine then. Necessity knows no rules, and you can trust me. I really am your true and devoted friend.
Supposing they were to look for you in there.
I'll bolt the door. And if they try to break in, I'll shoot. Come on. Please, come.
Do you promise?
I swear. Come.
Julie goes quickly into his room, and he excitedly follows her. Led by the fiddler, the peasants enter in festive attire, slaves with flowers in their hairs. They put up a barrel of beer and keg of spirits on the table, fetch glasses and begin to carouse. The scene becomes a ballet. They form a ring and dance and sing and mime. Out of the wood 2 women came. Finally, they go out, still singing. Julie comes in alone. She looks at the havoc in the kitchen, wrings her hands, then takes out her powder puff and powders her face. John enters in high spirits.
Now you see, and you heard, didn't you? Do you still think it's possible for us to stay here?
No, I don't. But what can we do?
Run away, far away, take a journey.
Journey to where?
Ever been to Louisiana, Lake Pontchartrain?
No, is it nice?
Is it ever? Eternal summer, oranges, evergreens.
What do we do there?
I'll start a hotel. First class accommodation and first class customers.
A hotel.
There's a life for you. New faces all the time, new languages, no time for nerves or worries, no need to look for something to do. Work rolling up of its own accord, bells ringing night and day, trains whistling, carriages coming and going, and all the time, gold pieces rolling out of the countertops. There's life for you.
For you and I.
Mistress of the house,
Hmm.
ornament of the firm. With your looks and your style, oh, it's bound to be a success. Terrific. You'll sit like a queen in the office and set your slaves in motion by ringing a bell. The guests will file past your throne and nervously lay their treasure on your table. Oh, you've no idea the way people tremble when they get their bills. I'll salt the bills and you'll sugar them with your sweetest smiles. Come on, girl, let's get away from here. at once by the next train. Let's see. New Orleans in 3 days.
New Orleans. That's all very well, but Jean, you must give me courage. Tell me you love me. Take me in your arms. Tell me you love me. I know you do.
I'd like to, Miss Julie, but I daren't. Not again in this house. I love you. That goes without saying. You can't doubt that, right, Miss Julie?
I can't. Can't miss. Just all sounds so wrong now. Call me Julie. There are no barriers between us now. Call me Julie.
I can't. As long as we're in this house, there are barriers between us. There's the past. And then there's the Colonel, your father. I've never been so servile to any man as I am to him. I've only to hear his bell and I shy like a horse. Even now, when I look at his boots, standing there so proud and stiff, I feel my back beginning to bang like a nigger. It's those old narrow-minded notions drummed into us as children. But I swear they can be forgotten. They can be forgotten. You've only got to get out of the country. A republic, and people will bend themselves double to my butler's uniform. Yes, double bend, they bend themselves. But I won't. I wasn't born to bend, Miss Julie. I've got guts. I've got character. And once I reach that first branch, hell, I'll be a proprietor in 10 years. I'll have made a fortune, and then I'll go to France. Get myself decorated, and I may, now I only say may, mind you, I may end up as a count.
Well, that would be very nice. But
You don't believe me? Look here, girl. In France, you can buy a title. And if I buy a title, then you'll be a countess.
what do I
My
care about all that?
countess.
I'm putting those things behind me. So, tell me you love me. Because if you don't, what am I?
Come on, honey, I'll tell you 1,000 times over. Later. Not here. No sentimentality now, or everything will be lost. Listen to me now. We must consider this thing calmly, like reasonable people.
John takes a cigar, cuts, and lights it.
You sit down there and I'll sit here and we'll talk as if nothing happened. There we go.
My God, have you no feelings at all?
Nobody has more, but I know how to control them.
Short time ago, you were kissing my shoe. And now?
Yes. That was then. Now we have something else to think about. Don't you get it?
Don't speak to me so brutally. I don't like it.
I'm sorry. I'm not speaking brutally. I'm just speaking sensibly. One folly's been committed. Don't let's have more. The Colonel will be back at any moment, and we got to settle our future before that. Now, please, what do you think of my plans? Do you approve?
It seems a very good idea. But just one thing. Such a big undertaking would need a lot of capital. Have you got any?
I sure do. I've got my professional skill. my wide experience, and my knowledge of foreign languages. That's capital worth having, seems to me.
But it won't even buy one railway ticket.
Quite true. That's why I need a backer to advance some ready cash.
How would you get that on a moment's notice?
You must get it.
I can. I haven't got any money of my own.
Then the whole thing's off.
And
Yep, the whole thing's off.
whole thing's off.
That's right. We
And
go on as we are.
do you think I'm going to stay under this roof as your mistress? With everyone pointing at me? Do you think I can face my father after this? No. So take me away from here, away from this shame, away from this humiliation. Oh my God. What have I done? Oh my God. Oh no.
So that's the tune now, is it? What have you done? Girl, same as many before.
Oh my God, and now you despise me. I'm falling down in the world. I'm falling.
Fall as far as me and I'll pick you up again. That's what I do.
Why was I so terribly attracted to you? The weak to the strong. Was it love? Is that what love is? Do you know what love is?
Do I? You bet I do. Do you think I never had a girl before?
The things you say, the things you think.
That's what life taught me. That's what I am, a survivor. Come on now, it's no good getting hysterical, giving yourself airs. We're both in the same shithouse now. Here, my dear girl, let me give you a glass. Come on now, let me give you a glass of something special. Come on.
Where did you get that?
Opens the door, takes out the bottle of wine, and fills 2 used glasses.
From the cellar.
My father's Burgundy?
Why not? For his son-in-law.
And I drink beer.
That only shows your taste not so good as mine.
Thief.
Are you gonna go tell on me?
Oh, God. The accomplice of a petty thief. Was I blind drunk? Have I dreamt this whole night? Midsummer Eve, the night for innocent merrymaking.
Innocent, huh?
Is anyone as wretched as I am now?
Why should you be after such a conquest? What about Kristen in there? Don't you think she has any failings?
Well, I did think so, but I don't any longer. No. A menial is a menial.
And a whore is a whore.
Oh my God. Heaven, put an end to my misery. Please take me. Lift me out of this filth in which I'm sinking. Save me. Save me.
Okay, calm down. I must admit I'm sorry for you. I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. When I was in the onion bed and saw you up there among the roses, I'll tell you now. You know what I was thinking about? I was thinking about the same dirty thoughts that all boys have.
You, who wanted to die because of me?
In the oats bin? Honey, that was just talk.
Lies, you mean?
More or less. I think I read some story in some paper about a chimney sweep who shut himself up in a chest full of lilac because he'd been summons for not supporting some brat or something like that.
So this is what you're like.
I had to think up of something. It's always the fancy stuff that catches the women.
Beast.
Merde.
Now you've seen the falcon's back.
Not exactly its back.
I was to be the first branch.
But the first branch was rotten, wasn't it?
I was to be a hotel sign.
And I the hotel.
Sit at your counter and track your clients and cook their accounts.
Oh, please, I've done that myself.
That any human being can be so steeped in filth.
Clean it up then.
Servant! Lucky! Menial! Stand up when I speak to you! Now!
Servants, whore. Slaves, harlot. Free man of colors, bed wench. Get out of here! Are you the one to lecture me for being coarse? Nobody of my race, my kind, would ever be as coarse as you were tonight. Do you think any slave girl would throw herself at a man that way? Have you ever seen a girl of my race asking for it like that? You're a whore. I haven't. Only animals and prostitutes.
Go on. Hit me. Trample on me. It's all I deserve. I'm rotten. But help me. If there's any way out, help me at all. I'm begging you.
I'm not denying myself for sharing the honor of seducing you. It was a dream come true, but do you think anybody in my place would have dared look in your direction if you yourself hadn't asked for it? I would be lynched. I'm actually still amazed.
And proud.
Why not? Though I must admit the victory was a little too easy to make me lose my head.
Go on hitting me.
No, on the contrary, I apologize for what I said. I'm not the type that hits a person when they're down, least of all a woman. I can't deny there's a certain satisfaction in finding that what dazzled one below was just moonshine. That the falcon's back is gray after all. That there's powder on the lovely cheek. That polished nails can have black tips. That the handkerchief is dirty, although it smells of scent. On the other hand, it hurts to find that what I was struggling to reach wasn't high and isn't real. Miss Julie, it hurts to see you falling so low. You're far lower than your own cook. Hurts like when you see the last flowers of summer lashed to pieces by rain and turned to mud.
You're talking as if you're already my superior.
I am your superior. I might make you a countess, but you could never make me a count.
True, that might be the father. I mean, I'm the daughter of the colonel. And you could never be that.
True. But I might be the father of counts if...
You're a thief. I'm not.
Please. There are worse things than being a thief, much lower.
Lie.
Besides, When I'm in a place, I regard myself as a member of the family to some extent and as one of the children. You don't call it stealing when children pinch a berry from overladen bushes, do you? Miss Julie, you're a glorious woman. Glorious. Far too good for a man like me. You were carried away by some kind of madness. Now you're trying to cover up your mistake by persuading yourself to cover up that you're in love with me. You're not in love with me. You find me physically attractive. Get online. Which means your love's no better than mine. But I wouldn't be satisfied with being nothing but an animal for you. And I could never make you love me.
Are you sure?
You think there's a chance of my loving you? Yes, of course. You're beautiful, refined,
He takes her hand.
educated, and you can be real nice when you want to be. The fire you light in a man isn't likely to go out.
He puts his arm around her.
You're like mulled wine, full of spices, and your kisses.
He tries to pull her to him, but she breaks away.
Let go of me. You won't win me that way.
Not that way, how then? Huh? Not by kisses and fine speeches, not by planning the future and running away and saving you from shame, and how then?
How? How? I don't know. I loathe you. I loathe you. I loathe rats. But I can't escape from you.
Escape with me.
Escape? Yes, we must escape. I'm so tired. Give me a glass of wine.
Don't drink like that. You'll get tipsy.
What's that matter?
What's it matter? It's vulgar to get drunk. Well, what have you got to say?
We've got to run away. But we must talk first, or rather, I must. For so far, you've done all the talking. You've told me about your life, and now I want to tell you about mine. So that we really get to know each other before we begin this journey together.
Wait. Excuse my saying so, miss. But don't you think you may be sorry afterward if you give away your secrets to me?
Are you my friend?
On the whole. But don't rely on me.
You can't mean that. But anyway, everyone knows my secrets. So listen. My mother wasn't well born. She came of quite a humble people, and she brought me up with all those new ideas of sex equality and women's rights and so on. She thought marriage was quite wrong. So when my father proposed to her, she said she would never become his wife. But in the end, she did. I came into the world, as far as I can make out, against my mother's will. And I was left to run wild. But I had to do all the things a boy does to prove women are as good as men. I had to wear boys' clothes. I was taught to handle horses, and I wasn't allowed in the dairy. She made me groom and harness and go out hunting. Hunting. I even had to try to plow. All the men on the estate were given the women's jobs and the women's the men's, and then the whole place went to ruin and we were the laughingstock of the county. At last, my father seemed to have come to his senses and rebelled. And he changed everything and ran the place his own way. My mother got ill. I never really did find out what the matter was with her, but she used to have strange attacks and hide herself in the attic. Garden. Sometimes she stayed out all night. Then came the great fire, which you've heard people talking about, the house and the stables and the barns, the whole place burnt to the ground. Very suspicious circumstances, because the accident happened the very day the insurance had to be renewed. And my father had sent the new premium, but through some carelessness of the messenger, it arrived too late.
Refills her glass.
Don't drink anymore. Don't
What's
drink
the
anymore.
matter? We were destitute and we had to sleep in the carriages. My father didn't know how to get the money to rebuild, and then my mother suggested he should borrow it from an old friend of hers, a local brick manufacturer. My father got the loan, and to his surprise, without having to pay interest, so the place was rebuilt. Do you know who set fire to it?
Your lady mother?
Do you know who the brick manufacturer was?
Her lover?
Do you know whose the money was?
No, that I don't know. Whose was it?
It was my mother's.
Ah, in other words, the colonel's, unless there was a settlement.
There wasn't any settlement. My mother had a little money of her own, which she didn't want my father to control, so she invested it with her friend.
Who grabbed it?
Who grabbed it? Well, he appropriated it. My father came to know all this. He couldn't bring any action, couldn't pay his wife's lover, nor prove it was his wife's money. And that was my mother's silly revenge, because he made himself master in his own house. He nearly shot himself then. At least there's a rumor. He tried and didn't bring it off. So he went on living, and my mother had to pay dearly for what she'd done. So imagine what those 5 years were like for me. My natural sympathies were with my father, yet I took my mother's side because I didn't know the facts. So I learned from her to hate and distrust men. You know how she loathed the whole male sex. And I swore to her I'd never become the slave of any man.
And so you got engaged to that attorney.
So that he should become my slave.
But he wouldn't be.
Oh, yes, he wanted to be. But he didn't have the chance. I got bored with him.
Is that what I saw in the stable yard?
What did you see?
What I saw was him breaking off the engagement.
It's a lie. It was I who broke it off. Did he say it was him? The cat.
He's not a cat. Let me ask you something, Miss Julie. Do you hate men?
Yes.
But there's nothing here to shoot with, and there isn't a dog. So what do we do now?
Well, I hate men. But then when the weakness comes in, oh, the shame.
Then do you hate me?
Beyond words. I'd gladly have you killed like an animal.
Quickly as you shoot a mad dog, huh?
Yes.
But there's nothing here to shoot with, and there isn't a dog. So what do we do now?
Go abroad?
Go abroad, huh?
Mm-hmm.
To make each other miserable for the rest of our lives together.
No. To enjoy ourselves for a day or two, or a week, for as long as the enjoyment lasts, and then to die.
Die? How silly. I think it would be far better to start a hotel.
Die on the shore of Lakes Pontchartrain, where the sun always shines, and at Christmas time there are green trees and glowing oranges.
Honey, it was just a story. Lake Pontchartrain's a rainy hole, and I didn't see any oranges outside the shops. But it is a good place for tourists. Plenty of villas to be rented by your honeymoon couples. Profitable business that, you know why? Because they all sign a lease for 6 months and they all leave after 3 weeks.
After 3 weeks, why?
They quarrel, of course, but the rent has to be paid just the same, and then it's rented again. So it goes on and on, for there's plenty of love, although it doesn't last very long.
You don't want to die with me.
I don't want to die at all. For one thing, I like living. And for another, I consider suicide a sin against the Creator who gave us life.
You believe in God? You?
Yes, of course. And I go to church every Sunday. Look here, I'm tired of all this. This has been interesting. I'm going to bed. I don't feel so good.
Indeed. Do you think I'm going to leave things like this? Don't you know what you owe to the woman you've ruined?
Yes.
He takes out his purse and throws a silver coin on the table.
There you are. I don't ever want to be in anybody's debt.
Don't you know what the law is?
There's no law, unfortunately, that punishes a woman for seducing a man.
Well, then can you see anything for it but to go abroad, get married, and then have a divorce?
And what if I refuse this mésalliance?
Mésalliance.
Yes, for me. I'm better bred than you, see?
How do
Nobody in my family committed arson.
How do you know?
Well, you can't prove otherwise. Because we haven't any family records outside the registrar's office. But I've seen your family tree in that book on the drawing room table. Do you know who the founder of your family was? A miller who let his wife sleep with the king one night during the Revolutionary War. Fuck. Fornication under consent of the king. I haven't any ancestors like that. I haven't any ancestors at all. But I might become one.
So this is what I get for confiding in someone so low for sacrificing my family honor.
Dishonor. Dishonor. Well, I told you so. One shouldn't drink because then one talks, and one shouldn't talk. I'm going to bed.
Oh, no, don't go to bed. Look how ashamed I am. How bitterly ashamed. If at least you loved me.
Look here for the last time. What do you want from me? Am I to burst into tears? Am I to jump over your riding whip? Shall I kiss you and carry you off to Lake Pontchartrain for 3 weeks, after which we get a divorce? What am I to do? What the hell you want from me, woman? This is getting unbearable, but that's what comes of playing around with women. Miss Julie, I see how miserable you are. I truly do. I know you're going through hell, but I don't understand you. We don't have sayings like this. We don't go on for hating each other. We make love for fun in our spare time when we got it. It's simple. We don't have all day and all night fun like you. I'm sorry, but I think you must be ill. I'm sure you're ill.
You must be kind to me. You sound almost human now.
Well, be human yourself. You know, you spit at me. Then you won't let me whop it off on you.
Help me. Help me. Tell me what to do, where to go.
Jesus, it's as if I knew. I don't know.
I've been mad. Raving mad. But there must be a way out.
Stay here and keep quiet. Nobody knows anything. There it is.
I can't. People do know. Kristen knows.
They don't know, and they wouldn't believe such a thing.
But it might happen again.
That's true.
And there might be consequences.
Oh, consequences. Consequences. Fool that I am. I never thought of that. Yes. Okay. Right. No, you're right. You're right. I'm sorry. I'm gonna calm down now. Let's see. Yes, you have to go. You have to go. You must go, and before the colonel gets back, if you stay, we know what will happen. Once you sin, you feel you might as well go on as the harm's already done, right? Then you get more and more reckless, and in the end, you found out. No. You must go abroad. That's right. You must go abroad. Then write to the colonel and tell him everything, except it wasn't me. Don't tell him that. He'll never guess that. Yeah, don't tell him. You know, he really wouldn't want to know it was me. You know?
Well, I'll go if you come with me.
Are you crazy, woman? Miss Julie elopes with the colored butler. Next day, it would be in the headlines, and the colonel would never live it down.
Well, I don't know what to do because I can't go. I can't stay. I'm so tired. So completely worn out. Just give me orders. Set me going. I can't think anymore. I can't act. I don't know.
Christ almighty. You see what weaklings you white people are? Why do you give yourself airs and turn up your noses as if you're the lords of creation? Please. I'll give you your orders. You go upstairs and dress. You get money for the journey and come down here again right away.
Come up with me.
To your room. Now you gone crazy again. No. Now I'm crazy. No, you go alone. You go at once. Go now, please.
He
Speak
takes her
kindly.
hand and pulls her to the door.
Just speak kindly to me.
Orders always sound unkind. Now you know. Please go. Please.
Left alone, John sighs with relief, sits down at the table, takes out a notebook and pencil, and adds up figures, now and then aloud. Dawn begins to break. Kristen enters dressed for church, carrying his white dicky and tie.
Lord Jesus. Look at the state of this place. What have you been up to?
Oh, Miss Julie invited the crowd in. Did you sleep through it? Didn't you hear anything?
I slept like a log.
And dressed for church already?
Well, yes. And you promised to come to communion with me today.
Why, so I did. What's the lesson today?
It's about the beheading of John the Baptist, I think.
Oh, that's going to be a long one then, is it? Lord, I'm so sleepy. So sleepy.
Yes, well, what have you been doing up all night? You look absolutely green.
Just sitting here and talking all night with Miss Julie.
She don't know what's proper, that one.
I say, Kristen,
What?
it's strange, isn't it? When you come to think of it. Her.
What's strange?
The whole thing.
Have you been drinking together?
Yes.
More shame, you. Look me straight in the face.
Yes.
Is it possible? Is it possible?
Yes, it is.
Oh, this I never would have believed. How low?
You're not jealous of her, surely.
Jealous? Oh no, I am not jealous. Now, if it had been maybe Clara or Sophie, I'd scratch your eyes out. But not of her. I don't know why. That's just how it is, though. But it is disgusting.
You're angry with her then?
Angry with her? No, I'm angry with you. I mean, that was wicked of you. Very wicked. And that poor girl. And mark my words, I will not stay here any longer. Not in a place where I can't respect my own employers.
Why should one respect them?
Well, you should know since you're so smart. But you don't want to stay in the service of people who aren't respectable, do you? I mean, I would not demean myself.
Well, Kristen, I personally find it's rather a comfort to find out they're no better than us.
Oh, no, I don't think so. I mean, if they're no better, then there's nothing for us to live up to. Oh, and think of the Colonel. Have you thought about that? I mean, he has been through so much already. Nope, I won't stay in the place any longer. Ooh, and a fellow like you too? I mean, if it had been someone of her own race, maybe an attorney. I mean, but this,
What's wrong with May?
oh, I mean, you're all right in your own way, but when all's said and done,
Thank you very
there
much.
is a difference between one race and another. No, this is something I'll never be able to stomach. That our young lady, who was so proud and so down on men you'd never let one come near her, should go and give herself to one like you? She who wanted to have poor Diana shot for running after the lodge keeper's pug? I must say. Well, I won't stay here any longer. On the 24th of October, I quit.
And then?
Well, since you mention it, it's about time you began to look around too, if we're ever gonna get married.
But what am I to look for? I won't get a place like this when I'm married.
Yeah, I know you won't, but you might just get a job as a porter or a caretaker in some public institution. I mean, government rations are small but sure, and there's a pension for the widow and children.
I'm sorry, Kristen, but that's all very fine, but it's not in my line to start thinking at once about dying for my wife and children. I must say I had rather bigger ideas.
All right, here you go, you and your ideas. Well, guess what? You've got obligations too, and you better start thinking about them. Have you thought about your obligations? Or are you just full of ideas?
Don't you start pestering me about obligations, please. Now, I had enough of that. I've been drinking a little bit too much tonight. Anyway, we've got plenty of time to work things out, but go and get ready now and we'll be off to church. Come on, go on now.
Who's that walking upstairs?
Don't know unless it's Clara.
You don't think it's the Colonel? You don't think the Colonel could have come out without us knowing?
The Colonel? No, he couldn't have. He'd have rung for me. No.
Whew. Lord help us. I never known such goings on.
The sun has now risen and is shining on the treetops. The light gradually changes until it slants in through the windows. John goes to the door and beckons. Julie enters in traveling clothes, carrying a small bird cage covered with a cloth, which she puts on a chair.
I'm ready.
Hush, Kristen's up.
Does she suspect anything?
Not a thing. But my God, what a sight you are.
Sad? What do you mean?
You're white as a corpse, and pardon me, your face is dirty.
Well, let me wash then.
She goes to the sink and washes her face and hands.
There, give me a towel. Come on. The sun is rising.
And that breaks the spell.
Yes, the spell of Midsummer Eve. Well, listen, John, come with me. I've got the money.
Enough?
Enough to start with. Come with me. I can't travel alone today. It's Midsummer's Day. Remember? I'd be packed into a suffocating train among crowds of people who'd all stare at me. And he would stop at every station while I yearn for wings. No, I can't do that. I simply can't. There will be memories too. Memories of midsummer days when I was little. Park, dancing and music and flowers and fun. Oh, however far you run away, there'll always be memories in the baggage car. And remorse and guilt.
I'll come with you now. Come on, but quickly now before it's too late. Come on, sugar. Come on at once, please.
Put on your things.
No luggage, mind. That will give us away. Come on. I'll lose my courage. Come on now.
Well, all right. Well, I'm just going to take what we can with us in the carriage.
Wait, what on earth have you got there? What is that thing?
Well, it's only my greenfinch. I don't want to leave her behind.
I'll be dying. We're to take a bird cage along? Are you crazy? Put that cage down.
It's the only living thing I'm taking from my home. The only living creature who cares for me since Diana went off like that. Don't be cruel. Let me take it.
Put that cage down, I tell you, and don't talk so loud. Kristen will hear you. Come on.
No, I won't leave it in strange hands. I'd rather you killed it.
Give the little beast here then, and I'll wring its neck.
Don't hurt it. Don't. No, I can't.
Give it here. I can't. Come on.
All right. Dear little Serena, must you leave your mistress?
Please don't make a scene. It's your life and your future we're worrying about. Come on, quick now.
He snatches the bird from her, puts it on a board, and picks up a chopper.
You know, Miss Julie, you should have learned how to kill chickens instead of target shooting. Then you wouldn't fight at a drop of blood. Come on.
Kill me! You who can butcher an innocent creature without a quiver! Oh, how I hate you! There's blood between us now, and I curse the hour I first saw you. I curse the hour I was conceived in my mother's womb.
What's the use of cursing? Let's go. Come on, Miss Julie.
No, I won't. I won't go yet. I can't. I must look. Listen. There's a carriage. You don't think I can bear the sight of blood? You think I'm so weak? Oh, I should like to see your blood and your brains on a chopping block. I'd like to see the whole of your sex swimming like that, the sea of blood. I think I could drink out of your skull, bathe my feet in your broken breasts, and eat your heart roasted whole. You think I'm weak? You think I love you, that my womb yearned for your seed, and I want to carry your offspring under my heart and nourish it with my blood. You think I want to bury your child and take your name. By the way, what is your name? I've never heard your surname, and I don't suppose you've got one. I should be Mrs. Huffle or Madame Dunghill, you dog, wearing my collar, you lackey, with my crest on your buttons. I share you with my cook. I'm my own servant's rival. Oh, you think I'm a coward and will run away? No. I'm going to stay and let the storm break. My father will come back and find his desk broken open, his money gone, and then he'll ring the bell to ask for the butler, and then he'll send for the police, and I shall tell everything. Oh, how wonderful to make an end of it all. A real end. He has a stroke and dies, and that's the end of all. Just peace and quietness. Eternal rest. Coat of arms broken off on the coffin, and the colonel's lying extinct. But the butler goes on.
There speaks the noble blood. Bravo, Miss Julie. But now, don't let the cat out of the bag.
Kristen enters dressed for church, carrying a prayer book. Julie rushes to her and flings herself into her arms for protection.
Kristen, help me. Please protect me from that man.
What going on for a feast day morning? And what a filthy mess. Now, what's this all about? Why are you screaming and carrying on so?
Kristen, you're a woman and my friend. Beware of that scoundrel.
While you ladies are talking things over, I'll go and shave. Excuse me.
You must understand. Okay, you must listen to me.
I certainly don't understand such loose ways. Now, where are you off to in those traveling clothes? And he had his hat on, didn't he?
Listen, Kristen. Listen. I'll tell you everything. Okay?
I don't want to know anything.
You must listen.
What to? Your nonsense with Jean? I don't care a rap about that. It's nothing to do with me. But listen, if you are thinking of getting him to run away with you, we will soon put a stop to that.
Please try to be calm, Kristen, and listen. I can't stay here. Nor can Jean. Okay? So we must go abroad.
Mm-hmm.
But you see, I've had an idea. Supposing we all three go abroad to Switzerland and start a hotel together. I've got some money, you see, and Jean and I could run the whole thing, and I thought you could take charge of the kitchen. Wouldn't that be splendid? Say yes, do. If you come with us, everything will be fine. Oh, do say yes.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, you've never traveled, Kristen. You should go abroad and see the world. You've no idea how nice it is traveling by train. New faces all the time and new countries. On our way through Hamburg, we'll go to the zoo and you'll love that. And we'll go to the theater and the opera too. And then we'll go to Munich and there'll be the museums. Yes, museums, dear, and pictures by Rubens and Raphael, the greatest painters of all time, you know? You've heard of Munich, haven't you, right? Yeah? Where King Ludwig lived, you know, the king who went mad. We'll see his castles. Some of his castles are still just like in the fairy tales. And from there, it's not far to Switzerland. The Alps. Think of the Alps, Kristen dear, covered in snow in the middle of summer. And there are oranges there and trees that are green the whole year round.
John is seen in the door of his room, sharpening his razor on a strap which he holds with his teeth in his left hand. He listens to the talk with satisfaction and now and then nods approval. Julie continues.
And then we'll get a hotel and I'll sit at the desk and Jean receives the guests and goes out marketing and writes letters. There's life for you. Trains whistling, carriages driving up, bells ringing upstairs and downstairs. And I shall make out the bills and I shall cook them too. You've no idea how nervous travelers are when it comes to paying their bills. And you'll sit like a queen in the kitchen. Of course, there won't be any standing at the stove for you. You'll always have to be nicely dressed and ready to be seen. And with your looks, no, I'm not flattering you. One fine day, you'll get yourself a husband, some rich Englishman. I shouldn't wonder. They're the ones who are easier to catch. And then we'll get rich and we'll settle down on Lake Pontchartrain. Of course, it rains there a little now and then, but the sun must shine there too sometimes, even though it seems gloomy, and if not, we can come home again, come back. Here. Or somewhere else.
Look here, Miss Julie. Tell me, do you believe all of that yourself?
Do I believe it?
Yes.
I don't know. I don't believe in anything anymore. Nothing at all.
So you meant to beat it, did you? So you meant to beat it? You were gonna leave?
Bait it. What are you talking about? Come on now, you've heard Miss Julie's plan, and although she's tired now with being up all night, it's a perfectly sound plan.
Oh, is it? If you thought I'd work for that, you got another thing coming.
Kindly use decent language in front of your mistress. Do you hear?
My mistress?
Yes.
Well, just listen to that.
Yes, it would be a good thing, Kristen, if you did listen and talked less. Miss Julie is your mistress, and what's made you lose your respect for her now ought to make you feel the same about yourself.
Oh no, I have always had enough self-respect.
To despise other people.
Not to go below my own station. Now, has the colonel's cook ever gone with the groom or the swineherd? Huh?
No, you
Tell
were
me
lucky enough to have a high-class chap for your beau.
Yeah. High class, all right. Selling the oats right out of the colonel's stable.
Now, you're a fine one to talk, taking a commission on the groceries and bribes from the butcher.
Oh, what the devil.
And now you can't feel any respect for your employers? You? You? Come on.
Are you coming to church with me or not? I should think you need a good sermon after your fine deeds.
No, I'm not going to church today. I expect I may never go back to church. You can go alone and confess your own sins. Be my guest.
Yes, I will do that. And bring back enough forgiveness to cover yours, too. The Savior suffered and died on the cross for all of our sins. And if we go to him with faith and a penitent heart, he takes all of our sins upon himself.
Even grocery thefts?
Do you believe that, Kristen?
Honey, that is my living faith. As sure as I stand here. Now, the faith I learned as a child and have kept ever since, Miss Julie. But where sin abounded, grace did much more abound.
Oh, if I had your faith, that'd be fine.
Oh, but see, you can't have it without God's special grace. And it's not given to all who have it.
Well, who is it given to then?
Well, that's the great secrets of the workings of grace, Miss Julie. God is no respecter of persons, and with him, the last shall be first.
Then I suppose he does respect the last.
And it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of God. That's just how it is, Miss Julie. Now, I'm going to go alone. And on my way, I shall tell the groom not to let any of the horses out. just in case anyone should want to leave before the Colonel gets back. Goodbye.
What a devil. And all on account of a stupid greenfinch.
Never mind the greenfinch. Do you see any way out of this? Any end to it?
No.
If you were in my place, what would you do?
In your place? Wait a bit. If I was a woman, a lady of rank who had fallen, I don't know. Yes, I do know.
Julie picks up the razor and makes a gesture.
This?
Yes, but I wouldn't do it, you know. There's a difference between us.
Because you're a man and I'm a woman? What is the difference?
The usual difference between a man and a woman.
I'd like to, but I can't. My father couldn't either the time he wanted to.
No, he didn't want to. He had to be revenged first.
Now my mother is revenged again through me.
God damn it, Miss Julie. Didn't you ever love your father?
Deeply. But I must have hated him too. Unconsciously. I just feel like he let me be brought up to despise my own sex. To be half woman, half man. Whose fault is it? What's happened? My father's, my mother's, or my own? My own? But I haven't anything that's my own. I haven't one single thought that I didn't get from my father, one emotion that didn't come from my mother. And as for that last idea about all people being equal, I got that from him and my fiance. That's why I call him a cad. How can it be my fault? How? Push the responsibility on Jesus like Kristen does? No. I'm too proud. And thanks to my father's teaching, too intelligent. And as for that about a rich person not being able to get into heaven, it's just a lie. But Kristen, who has money in the savings bank, will certainly not get in. Whose fault is it? Whose fault is it? What does it matter whose fault it is? In any case, I must take the blame and bear the consequences.
Yes, but Miss Julie.
There are 2 sharp rings on the bell. Julie jumps to her feet. John changes into his livery.
Has he been to his desk yet?
Hello, Miss Colonel. How y'all doing? Good night. Yeah, John's here. This is John, sir. Yes, sir. No, sir, I was just fooling. Yes, sir. No nigga talk in the house. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I won, sir. Very good, sir. can have an hour. I'm sorry about that, sir. I was just fooling.
What did he say? My God, what did he say?
He ordered his boots and coffee in half an hour.
There's half an hour. Oh, I'm so tired. I can't do anything. I can't be sorry. I can't run away. I can't stay. I can't live. I can't die. Help me. Just order me and I'll obey like a dog. Do me this last service. Save my honor. Save my name. Save his name. You know what I ought to do, but I haven't the strength to do. Use your strength and order me to do it.
I don't know why. I can't. I don't understand. It's as if this coat just made me. I can't give you orders. I'm a slave. I'm nobody. And I can't quite explain, but every time the colonel has spoken to me, what the devil? The nigger comes back in line, the lackey, the servant, the bad wench. I believe if the count came down right now and ordered me to cut my throat, I would do it with a smile on my face.
And pretend you're him and I'm you. You did some fine acting before when you knelt to me and played the aristocrat. Or have you seen a hypnotist at the theater? He says to the person, take the broom, and he takes it. He says, sweep, and he sweeps.
But the person has to be asleep.
I'm asleep already. The whole room has turned to smoke and you look like a stove. A stove like a man in black with a soul hat. Your eyes are glowing like coals and the fire's low and your face is a white patch like ashes.
Sunlight has now reached the floor and lights up John.
How nice and warm it is.
She holds out her hands as though warming them at a fire.
So light.
John puts the razor in her hand.
Here's the broom. Go now while it's light out to the barn and
I'm going now. To rest. But you still told me that even the first can receive the gift of grace.
Miss Julie, please. Don't think about it like this the first. I can't tell you, but wait, Miss Julie, I've got it. You aren't one of the first any longer, dear. You're one of the last. The last.
is true. I'm one of the very last. Oh, but now I can't go. Tell me again to go.
I can't either. I can't.
And the first shall be last.
Don't think. You need to take my strength away too. You're taking my strength away too and making me a coward. What's that? I thought that was, I saw the bell move. To be frightened of a bell. Yes, master, yes, I'm coming with your coffee. I'll come here. George is here for you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. To be frightened of a bell. To face myself in the mirror to know that I'm nothing. Nothing. To be frightened of a bell. You see, Miss Julie, it's not just a bell. There's somebody behind it. A hand moving it. And something else moving the hand. And if you stop your ears, yeah, then it rings louder than ever. Rings and rings and rings until you answer and you face what you are. Nothing! Nothing. And then it's too late. Then the police come and
The bell rings twice loudly.
Ah! It's horrible. It's horrible. Miss Julie, there's no other way to end it. Go! Go. 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 I'm a good boy, and I shine my shoes. I'ma please my master, 'cause he's so cool. Curtain. All right, good, done, right?
Hey. Good job, guys.
Holy shit, there's 66 here. That's amazing. I know, it's 25.
Amazing.
Oh my God. What a performance. That was sensational.
It's an intense play.
Yeah.
Well done. Well done, you guys.
Great job, guys.
Thank you.
That was intense.
Can anybody hear me? Can I be heard? Is Gino? Okay, good. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I just want to thank you for coming and for being an audience. Let's see what happens with this play. It's something that's haunted me for a long time. I especially want to thank my actors, Ms. Julie, Laura McHugh, Kristen, Desi Williams, my incredible narrator, assistant director, Kenya Mungia, and myself. It was amazing. Anyway, thank you. I like to hear whatever you guys think, good, bad, or indifferent.
Well, how do you feel about it?
Me
Let's
personally,
talk about what we think. How do you, yeah, like, are you,
I tell you, man, it was. I thought it was pretty fucking good. There were some some little tiny mistakes and stuff that I made or another actor made or dropped a line or something or other, but it was so minor. It was like, scuffed shoes or something. But the thing that I really treasured the most, and especially about the training that we received here, is I thought that we were really talking to each other. I was really having a conversation with these fucking people, and it was amazing. And the scene reading technique, I think it's invaluable, because like you start off a little rough and you don't trust yourself, and then you're trying to, oh, don't be critical of yourself, and then your partner will do something magical and you'll say, fuck it, I want to find out what that is, and that happened. There was some flights of fancy and things that I discovered, and things that I saw in my actors tonight that I didn't discover. And you guys are geniuses. Every single thing that I wanted to be, that I thought we should portray, you guys did it. And, a very artificial space. So I'm really, really grateful. I'm very happy. And I hope that I definitely want the tape. And I'll see if I market this, because I think it should be played at, I don't know, the National